Hello and welcome to the Cash Furnace. My name's Eric Downs, and with my co host Paul Kinzierski, we aim to be your go to source for daily stock and crypto news. Today is February 13th. We're a day late off of our normal daily schedule, coming to you on Fridays, but the content's going to be just as good. Today, we're going to be covering, or checking in, I should say, on our lithium plays, explaining and checking in on our lithium plays, as well as discussing the harpoon method and how to take down whales for big profits in the market.
I like it.
If you like what you hear on this podcast today, please do us three big old favors. Number one, like. Number two, comment. And number three, subscribe. Hit that notifications bell. Share this with someone you think would benefit from it, and help us help more people make more money.
That's right.
You ready to get into it, Paulie?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
let's get into our lithium plays. It kind of plays with both subjects at the same time, how
Yeah.
we originally got into this, right?
Yep.
So I guess going back, we have to explain what we mean by the harpoon method, how we got into this,
Yeah.
the whole Wall Street or the whole board that you're in, and go ahead.
Sure.
Take it away.
Okay. So basically, um, when we refer to the harpoon method and taking down a whale in the market, very large players who make very, very high volume, very expensive trades are referred to as whales. And we're all just the little fish, we're the chum, the shrimp, whatever you want to call us. But the big guys who are trading millions, if not tens of millions of dollars per trade, these are the whales who not only have the ability to move the market a little bit, but typically when these guys make giant moves that are so high conviction that they're willing to put multiple commas on it, it's typically because they have information that we don't have.
Right.
And this might not be insider illegal trading or anything like that, but they just might happen to have a piece of info that they know from a person, or from deep digging research they did, whatever the case may be. They just might know one thing that we don't. Because let's face
Right.
it, there's tens of thousands of companies out there. We can't track them all, but some people focus on a very, very small segment of sectors, and they know it really well. They know the ins and outs, all of the factors. And when those factors line up and they look really, really profitable and high potential for profit, they're willing to go big on it. So what's nice about this is that thanks to the beauty of bots and the internet, there are tools out there that you can utilize to be notified of when a big whale trade comes in. So I'm on a particular
Mhm.
Discord channel that has utilized basically a bot to that will, whenever a giant trade comes in, it'll notify everyone and give you a summary of everything. Here's the trade, here's the company, it's pretty much always options. Here's the company, here's the expiration, here's the strike price, here's what the current bid ask spread looks like, here's what the volume is, the current implied volatility,
Right.
everything you want to know. And it actually by a legend of emojis that tell you more, that indicate even more about this particular trade, what is speculated to be behind this trade or the sentiment behind the trade. And, we can use this information and follow the whales. We might not be putting millions of dollars down on a trade, but we can do the same trade. And if the whales, exactly.
And still become profitable.
So if the
Right.
whales, we're basically doing a little bit of speculation that whoever this whale is knows something that we don't, and we're willing to follow them into the trade because
Hmm.
you know they're big guys and
Right. And they have, let's face it, like you said, this isn't insider trading. This is the benefit of having such high value net worth that your network, right, is with extraordinary people, people that
right.
aren't just your average Joe. And so if you're best friends with a CEO of a company, right? Or you are a CEO and all you know, your entire close circle are a bunch of other CEOs and they all get to talking, you're going to have information on their companies that no one else has. Not through like a tip to say, hey, buy this, we're going to go big. You could simply hear their frustrations, how happy they are with how the company is going, et cetera, how busy they're being. And you can glean info from that and take a big risk or a high conviction trade that you essentially are pretty positive is going to
That's right.
net you a ton of money. And that's also why this bot follows option trades, because options trades are leveraged, right? Naturally leveraged. So when somebody puts $100,000 into options trades, they're going to net
Correct.
a killing
Yep.
if they're right. And that's why this bot in particular focuses on options, because someone can just buy stock for, $100,000 in stock, thinking that this company's sure will ride it out long term. It might be 10 years before they see the profitability. They're thinking way long term. Options, that's not the case. They have an expiry. They, you see the timeline based off the date of when they take the option, and you know that it's going to be short term. You can profit from this reliably.
The odds are in your
Semi-reliably.
favor, which
Depends.
let's just be honest, in the stock market,
Right.
they typically aren't. For the little guy, the odds are typically not in your favor.
No.
So
No.
following a big whale just sort of
Right.
increases your odds a bit. Now, it should be noted that, we haven't really covered this much in their channel, but, the beauty of options is that you can use them for literally any market environment. You can use them for a stock going up, for a stock going down, for a stock going sideways. You can also use them as a hedge. So for instance, if I owned a ton of shares of some company, and the stock's going up and it kind of goes like this a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, market conditions are a little weird and I don't know what's going to happen. You could buy put options. Instead of selling your stock, you could buy put options, or you could sell calls. There's a million strategies that basically profit if your stock goes down. That way the stock going down, that way it's offsetting your losses. So it should be noted that these strategies can often be used by whales to hedge a position. However, this bot, which is a very, very intelligently written and tuned bot, can pick up on certain aspects of a trade and determine the likelihood of whether or not a trade is a hedge. So for the types of bets, bets that we have tried, we've recently tried to start following a few of these whale calls, as I like to call them, and just follow the whales in and see how it works. I think we finished one, and we have two more open right now. Correct. We did Twitter, and then right now we have FTFT and Baba. Right. Okay. So.
Yep.
FTFT.
Or no, not NTFT.
What?
We have AFB.
Wait, AFB.
AFB as well.
Oh, was ALB?
Or ALB.
Was that a whale call?
ALB. That's our.
Oh,
that's
you're right.
That's
Okay, so we finished one, and we have three open right now. Yeah. Okay. So little background.
Yes.
We did our first one this week on Twitter, and this is wild. Okay, look. So if you look at Twitter stock, in like the last week, it's done this, which is like we refer to as going parabolic.
Yep.
Now, I'll say most of the time, damn near 98% of the time, when a stock goes parabolic, it comes back down, or it fades off or something like that. Twitter had gapped up. It was literally at the highest point of its parabola, and this whale call comes in that says, nope, higher. And it buys this weird expiration call option, slightly out of the money, but it met all the criteria, like with golden shining awards. It was like, yep, okay, let's try it. It was a fairly cheap bet. I think the contracts were, what were they like?
Yep.
I don't know, a little over $100 or something.
was 100.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
you're
it
right.
was
Yeah.
like $150.
And I'll be damned. Twitter, by the end of the day, despite being up so much, went up, continued up. The next day opened up even higher. And this,
Yep. And
yeah,
I was mad at myself for selling, so I got
right.
nervous and sold
And
day of, same day trade, right? Because I was up $95
yeah,
on a $150 call option on a company that just, as you said, went parabolic. I was like, I'll take it.
right. And I
I'm
mean, look,
fine
you
with
have
being out
every
now.
reason to be nervous. I was too. Like, look, if a company had a
Right.
great technical setup, it found support, it was like sort of consolidating, and then a whale call comes in and says we're going big, great. And in fact, one of our calls is doing that right now, but this wasn't. This was a call that came in. I mean, it couldn't have been at a more risky point that made no sense at all. But
Right.
we wanted to see how good these whales are. So in my case, yeah. So Pauly sold end of day at a great profit. I ended up selling one at the end of the day because I wanted to scale out of the position a little bit, just reduce exposure because it was already, like you said, it was up a lot, and held through the next day, and then I sold the next day. To be honest, I haven't even followed it after that, and I should just check in on it. Here, I'm going to bring it up right now, but I want to see what would have happened if we kept holding. But the position was like, if I remember correctly, position was like 2 or 3 weeks out, which means who knows what's going to happen. Even, we
Yep.
might have sold way too early.
Right. And you also have that, but the other thing in my mind is you have
Yeah.
that theta working against you when it's that close to expiration, right? So the next day, even if the price was higher than the day we bought it, just by being one day closer to
Yep.
expiration with that short of a
Hey,
timeline,
Pauly,
you lose money.
Twitter closed up for 4.73% yesterday. We probably would have been at I would say, a roughly 175 to 200% gain.
That's
I don't even
outrageous,
understand it.
man. That's outrageous. I mean, I'm still happy with the
No,
it was
I
like an
know
eighty
it
eighty
was it was
five percent
fantastic.
gain
So
or something,
look,
but
I want to say to anyone listening, this is the equivalent of like looking over the shoulder of like the hottest poker player at the main table right now and just seeing, oh, what's that
yep,
guy doing?
right.
The problem is
Mhm.
you still have risk because you don't know what everyone else at the table is doing. You don't know what cards are going to flip.
Right.
So that was a risky. I mean, of all the whale calls we've done already, well, except for one of the ones we've opened, that's
Yep.
like super risky, and
Yeah.
it worked out. I don't know if it's always going to be like that, but that was pretty reassuring. Um, so the other three that we have open right now, we have one on Alibaba, which I think
Which you and I
it's
have been
true.
talking about
Hmm.
Baba for a while though. We wanted to go in. We just didn't know at what point in time. And when we saw this whale call come in, at least for me, I was like, great, no brainer. This one isn't even a high
Yeah.
risk for
The
me.
only thing
Like
that's risky
I
about
want
it
in.
to me is that the call is so far out of the money right now. It's so far away.
It's huge. It is huge. It's 315
260
call. What's
something?
Baba trading at?
I know. What is that?
That's
315.
a big
I
gain,
don't know what it
man.
is, 264 something. Yeah, that means that they expected to go up 20% in the next month. So I
By
think that's
next
high
month.
risk, but we're in it, you know? Um, the second one,
Yeah.
sorry?
And
It's true.
we're
It's
in the
true. It's
green
true.
slightly so far. So
The second one is an absolutely outrageous, risky bet that I hate everyone in our thread for peer pressuring me into. But it was a whale call that came through. It technically met all the criteria, but the IV, the implied volatility, was through the roof. I think it was like 270%, which means the options price is so ridiculously
mhm.
inflated. And it was on a small cap company that I've never heard of. Like, it met all the criteria except for that. IV, no, bad. Company I've never heard of, no,
Yeah.
bad. But everyone in our damn thread bought one because it was cheap, and then you all pressured me into it, and I caved.
So,
Go ahead, go
so
ahead.
can I admit something to you for to clarify to all our viewers and listeners? Eric is teaching me about this options game, and I'm still very new. And I had sold an option earlier that day, unknowingly. Um, I didn't know it automatically stayed at where you last chose, so it had to sell. So everything that you guys bought, that call
Oh
that you bought,
my
I wound up
God.
selling. And I realized this about 2 hours into it, as I was because I was surprised no one was saying anything. I was like $30 in the money, and I looked at it, and it was a put, and I was
Wait,
like, "Oh
did you sell
fuck,
did you
I'm
sell a
not
put?
going against this. I'm in the money." I no,
You
I
bought a put. Okay. Yeah.
bought a put, and it was in the money, and I was like, "Holy crap, I'm not going against a whale here.
Yeah.
I'm in the money. I'm selling immediately."
Okay.
So I am
Honestly, it's a
out of
good thing because I don't know if you
NTF
saw, but
right now.
somehow it went up after hours even further. It was our, what was it up like 27% when we bought into it? So stupid. I would never do
Yeah,
that.
thank
Okay, so
thank
our
God.
third one is the one that we have a little bit of extra excitement about, and for and for the reason that it is not as much of a gamble, and that is ALB, which is Albemarle,
Yeah,
which is a lithium mining company, right?
yeah,
So we've been just in our
yeah, yep.
thread, in our private thread that none of you are invited to. We're not going to hawk it. There's no Discord link. Don't sign up. There's no premium subscription. Get out of here. Um, we've been discussing lithium a lot because if you know, lithium is one of the integral components or the integral elements to manufacturing um, lithium ion batteries, predominantly used.
Which
Hmm.
which is used in EV
Yep.
cars, in all the laptops out there, in all of your
Yeah.
phones.
Base.
It's in everything now. And we were talking about it because if you do your research, you see that the production versus the demand is well below
Yes.
where it needs to be in the future in order to keep up with this ever
Right.
increasing demand for lithium batteries. And now that they're going into massive things, not just small computer batteries or phone batteries, they're going into massive car
Yep.
batteries, semi batteries. I mean, this is we're
Right.
going to need a
Correct.
lot more
So,
of this element.
you know, we were discussing this in the thread. We were looking into a few different options that, or, sorry, a few different companies or funds that we could invest in. You know, one of our thread mates mentioned LAC. Um, but as we dug around, one of my favorites, I'm still going to stand by it, is Lit LIT. And the reason I like that one a lot
Mhm.
is because, as we discussed in our thread today, uh, China currently has somewhere between 50 to 60, possibly more, percent of the world's production of lithium batteries. And they're projected,
Yeah,
Ark Invest, which is Kathy Wood's fund, in projects that that number is going to stay where it is, if not grow by 2029. So lit the ETF lit, I particularly like that one because it's over 50% concentrated in China and China's lithium and lithium battery
right.
production. So I think that's a great bet. If you look at the stock, it's you look at the fund price, it's through the roof right now. It just shot straight up. So I don't know if it's a great time to
Right.
enter, but then we started to look at some of the other companies that that are out there, and Albemarle came up. And this is so funny, Paulie. I didn't tell you this. So lithium, when I first started trading options, this was it was in excuse me, it was in 2017. Lithium for some reason
Mhm.
was popping off. I think because that was when Tesla was starting. You know, this was way before Tesla was popular, but like, but Tesla was coming out as like, wow, we released a car, and wow, the future. Like, what could this mean for the future? I was looking into my TDA account, and I realized I have a watch list that's just called lithium, and it was all of these companies, and every single one, if I had bought it back when I was looking at it, I'd be fucking killing it right now. So
Oh,
I
I
was
believe it.
tracking it years ago. It just kind of fell off. I forgot about it. But anyway, Albermale was on that list at the time. Would have been a great buy.
Mhm.
Now, and we've actually opened a position on it. We've opened some, I think March 165 or 170 calls. I think I did 165. I think, did you do 170? Yeah. So far they're doing great. That was a great position. And Albemarle, the reason we got into it is, I mean, at least, Paulie, I want your input on this too. I got into it because, we're looking at the lithium space. We want to place a bet on the lithium space. And Albemarle was, from a technical perspective, a chart perspective, in a really, really good place. And
that's we were thinking about getting into ALB simply because of where it was on the chart, and specifically when a market starts getting hot, like we saw LIT just absolutely take off, right? If you can find other similar companies that A, their chart looks good, and B, they're in the same sector with very good like fundamental value, chances are if you invest in them, they're going to follow.
Yeah, so that's kind of our play. The options chain looked great. Basically all of the criteria that we look for in a good trade was pretty much there. And then we had we had a whale confirm it. And they were like, okay, say no more. Say no more. Sign me up. And so we're in that right now.
Exactly.
And I think that's going to unwind, or wind up, I guess you would say, over the next few weeks. I mean, we're already, dude, if I remember correctly, that position closed. I'm going to check it right now. We opened that position, 2 days ago, I think? Or what, like on Wednesday, I think. That position closed yesterday up 41% for me. And it had peaked, I think yesterday it peaked at 60% at one point. This is a good position. We're already seeing a great gain. Like I'm very happy about this call.
And the price hasn't moved that much. We're up 4% from entry.
So I think, Paulie, okay, so I'm sharing this with everyone. Paulie, I know you know this, so I'm going to explain it. One of the interesting things that we've been noticing about the whale calls is that they often will stake a position at a place in the options chain that is currently uninhabited. And this is very compelling for multiple reasons. It's not uncommon for when you stake out an options position to choose what's called a monthly expiration. Back years and years ago when options were not quite so new, I guess they were more new, I guess. The options used to only expire once per month, and some still do, the third Friday of every month. And now we have weekly options. On the S&P 500, we have literally 3 times a week expirations, which is bonkers to me. But even to this day, a lot of times, if you want to find well-populated liquid options positions, you go to the monthly expirations because that's where the most people are hanging out. So that means it's easier to get in and out of your trade because there's more. The market's better there. But what the downside to that is that when more people are there, when more people know about it, when more people are trading, the price can be less competitive. So these whales, what is really slick and kind of reassuring about them is that they go find another point on the options chain, another strike price, another expiration, and you can see it in the alerts because you can see what the open interest versus the volume is, and you could say, how many people are in this now? How much did they just bring to the and they essentially make the market for that one options that one strike. It's interesting because when it's kind of like the classic hockey expression, where you don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck is going to be. And if you out where no one's looking, and I think that's what we're experiencing right now, because like you noted, Albemarle has not moved a ton, but our position is getting fat.
Yeah. Yep. I completely agree. So now there's a bunch of attention there. There's more bids there, right? So naturally, those bids are going up. But so we talked about the lithium play. We talked about we're pretty high conviction on it, and I still think it's a good time to buy the stock. But I wanted to brainstorm with you what is most interesting for these whale calls that we've had so far is the Baba call, right? Because it's so out of the money.
Yeah.
And Jack Ma if for those of you not in the know, he's been missing. He's the CEO of Alibaba, and he was just spotted last week playing golf. There were all sorts of theories, like people thought the Chinese government basically kidnapped him or had him quarantined or something like that. And there were people speculating they're trying to seize the company back to the government. There's been a ton of fear around this stock right now, even though, as we know, they're crushing numbers recently, right? So, what is it that you think gave this whale such high conviction to buy so much so far out of the money? In my mind, I think that he has some insider information. I think Jack Ma has been missing because he's making serious moves in some sort of sector that nobody's even thinking about. And he just is going to absolutely drop the news soon, and it's going to blow everybody's mind and just massively.
That's the
spike
only
price.
reason you would buy a call that is so effing out of the money and low vol. You know, like you could easily, if you wanted to make a big bet on 300. There's a psychological point there where you're going to see more volume because people just like even numbers. That's just, I don't know, we're stupid chimps and that's how we work. But they picked 315. When you do that, you know something has happened. We've experienced that, Paulie, right? You remember with Pinterest? Did you play Pinterest?
I didn't play it, but I watched it and I was pissed.
So Pinterest, we got it, and this wasn't a whale. This is a whale of a different type. But we got a call, said, hey, Pinterest is going to crush their earnings, aiming for about the 85, maybe the 90 range. Pinterest destroyed their earnings, if you saw the episode that we did on it. And where did they open up the next day? 85, almost to the effing penny. Now, I don't know if it's possible to really calculate that stuff that precisely. But when you stake out a position that is not a nice even number because you're just kind of guessing, when you pick out a number that precisely, it insinuates that you know something. And in this case, I hope they do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So do I, man. Rich. Because if I was just about to say that if it hits, my portfolio is going to go off the charts.
Paulie, how many contracts do you have?
I only have one. So to put it in perspective, we announced a couple weeks back, right, that I was going to be financing a $1,500 options portfolio with the goal of being able to pay my mortgage every month, theoretically, with the profits, right? And so far, with these whale calls, I started last Monday. With these whale calls, I've already hit that number, right? Which is fantastic. It doesn't mean we've had an insane 2 weeks. It's been green all over the board. It doesn't mean that's going to continue forever. But one of the problems with having such a small account size is like with the ALB, right? That took up $600 worth of my capital to buy one options contract. So I'm not allowed. If I could have, I would have bought like 5 to 10 of those because I'm so high conviction on lithium anyway that just reconfirmed my bias essentially. But I'm very limited right now, so I have to play it small.
Hey, that's no problem. And you remember, I wanna stress something out here, and I know this is how do I say, ingrained knowledge for you and me, but this is something that I run into with a lot of friends who may be new to trading. And I want to stress this a lot. What Paulie's done here with his, picking out the number of contracts, he's basically, how do I say this? When you're trading, it's very common to get caught up in the dollar signs and how many dollars you make on a trade, right? Because that's how we live, right? We live in dollars. You buy you pay your rent, you buy your groceries, you fill up your car with gas in dollars. But dollars don't tell you if you're a good trader or not. Because if you made a $1 million bet and you made $100, $100 might feel like a lot, but that you didn't return a good percentage on that. What tells you if you're a good percenter percent. A good trader. How did I even confuse those two words? Percenter and trade. Percenter is not even a fucking word. Okay. What tells you if you're a good trader is percentage gains. Because if you can
Agreed.
take a $10 position and turn it into 20
Mhm.
bucks, it might not feel like a lot, but that means you know the
is.
mechanics of your thinking and your execution are sound, and all
Yep.
you need to do at that point is just add more money, and then you could turn
Yep.
$10,000 into $20,000, and then you'll be happy with the dollar
Mhm.
signs. But the percentages are required at first to prove to yourself that you are a good trader. And what Paulie's doing here by saying I'm only going to responsibly take out a fair percentage of my account. I'm not going to go, bananas with this thing, and I'm going to aim for a good percentage return. It might only be one contract. Who cares?
Right. No,
Yeah,
you're absolutely
if you
right.
turn,
It's actually kind of nostalgic, if you will, right? Because this is exactly how I used to play crypto when I had a tiny portfolio back in the day. And it's exciting because it makes you think it's it's very viable to see how quickly you can, or very tangible how quickly you can make that portfolio
Mhm.
rise. And when you start with something so small, and if it by the end of the year that 1,500 is 15,000, that's
Yeah,
huge. That's
that's
so
insane.
huge. Whereas when you start getting into the bigger side of things, it becomes sort of arbitrary,
Right.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, and just to be clear, not all these are simply because we're using a bot. Like we've had other good trades that we do, or even small
Hmm.
gains, right? Like 9%, 10% on small amounts of stock, which is just playing the fundamentals. So you don't have to have this bot in order to make it
Right.
happen,
That's
right?
exactly right.
It's just we're kind of figuring out this new tool we have, and we're kind of creating strategies behind it and
Yeah.
testing it out
Look,
with these accounts
look,
and
we're
everything.
out in the ocean in our little rowboat, okay? And we've got our lines
Mhm.
cast and we're doing our best to figure out where the fish are. But when you look down in the
Yep.
water and you see a giant whale swimming in one direction that it seems weird to you, but you're like, dude, it's a whale. It knows where the fish are.
Yeah.
You follow it,
Yep.
you know?
You
You,
harpoon
yep.
that bitch. You tie it to
And
the
you hold
boat,
on for dear
and
life. So that's what we're doing. We're always trying to be expert, judicious, educated, calculated fishermen. But you got to use all the resources available to you if you want to catch
absolutely,
fish. And a whale's
absolutely,
one of them.
yeah. So speaking of whales, I do want to keep some crypto talk in here,
Please.
and I know your favorite person in the world to talk about when it comes to investing right now.
Well,
Good
of
old Kathy,
course. Yep.
right? So they just released their December numbers for how much crypto they bought.
Oh, God.
In December, in December, they bought, now they're only buying through Grayscale right now. Like many big investment firms are, because they don't have the go ahead from their board or whatever to start their own fund to buy the asset
Mm,
directly,
okay.
right? But they bought 2.14 million shares of GBTC in the fourth quarter of
Okay. So
2020.
how much money is that? Oh, my God. Paul, keep going. Remind me to talk about FTFT before we're done. I just got
Okay.
a tweet. Okay. How much money is that? How is that number of shares?
At the time when they bought it, it was worth 358
Okay.
million.
All right.
Now, from today, I believe it's up 222% from where they bought it.
Holy shit.
This is your favorite person,
Yeah.
Kathy. This is the most forward-thinking investor out there right now, right?
Yep.
Maybe not the most, but one of them. One of the ones with the best track records of this
Yep.
last year.
Kathy,
And they have that much conviction.
Kathy, if you're out there, I love you.
We'll set up a date with
Please,
Eric.
I would take it. I would take it. I'll cook, man.
But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, guys. This is still very much the beginning of this parabolic rise, and funds see it. Forward thinkers see it. They know that this is going to be an astronomical rise within the short term of this 2021 year and further out, because they wouldn't just buy it for short-term profits. I mean, they could, but it'd be going through a hell of a lot of problems to invest and then divest 6 months later, right?
Ugh.
That many
Yeah.
shares. Especially with traditionally how fast Bitcoin could crash, right? They don't want to be in the middle of trying to liquidate everything if it goes down 70%. So these are high conviction buys by huge whales in the industry in massive amounts. We're going to be good. We're going to be good.
We're going to be good.
Mm.
Love it, Paulie. I love it. I love your crypto updates, man. I love them.
It's because they're only positive.
Well, yeah, of course. It's just a confirmation bias. Who doesn't love?
Again, we didn't have this podcast in March when I was shitting my pants. So
look, man, who doesn't love confirmation bias?
This is true. This is very true. Oh God.
All right. I would say we're probably it's nothing but great notes today. You know, let's end on a high.
All right.
But I have one more thing. Just as you were.
Oh yeah, you got ETFT. What did you get the tweet? What did it say?
Okay.
Don't tell. How pissed am I going to be that
maybe I shouldn't tell you.
I bought a put instead of a.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you.
No, you should.
Okay.
Come on, let's hear it.
So I'm looking. The tweet literally it dinged right as you were talking. So oh geez. You know the worst part? I'm going to share this. You know the reason I'm actually upset about this? Is that I shared that call because one of our thread mates asked for the riskiest play he could possibly play, which I negatively condone. I hate it. I absolutely hate these high risk plays because it's all or nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely hate it. No risk management. Kills me. And I gave him this one because I was like, go ahead, man. You want me to throw you you want me to find a ticking bomb with the shortest fuse on it? Yeah, sure. Here's one. Catch. And we all aped into it like a bunch of idiots because the options were low price. And I got peer pressured into it. And he's going to be right. And he's not going to shut up about it.
No, he's not.
Remember that time that I bought a $4,000 lotto ticket scratcher at 7-Eleven? So I don't know if you can't. Oh, I don't know if you can see this.
No, I can't.
So you can see my Baby Yoda reflection in there.
Yeah, it's a little creepy actually.
Okay, so this is Trader Stu. Oh, it's all. Is that backwards? I don't know.
No, it's definitely one to watch next week.
This is Trader Stewie, okay? I don't know who this guy is, to be honest, but I follow a handful of Twitter traders that just have reputations in the community for making great calls. They're just making great calls.
Yep.
Jonah Lupton, my favorite guy recently. Oh my God, everything he calls is just pure annihilation. He kills it. Trader Stewie's another one of these guys. Makes great calls, shares chart setups and all this stuff. It's really, really helpful. Really good stuff. Well, he just put out this call. He says, definitely one to watch next week. Put this one high on your list. FTFT, which is exactly the ridiculous bet we just made.
And just by him, because he has a ton of followers.
Does. Yep.
Just by him tweeting that, the price is going to pump. You guys are going to be so in the green. Fuck me. Why didn't I check if it was a
I don't even want to share it.
I-
I don't want to share it to the thread because I'm never going to hear the end of it, dude. I'm never
You're
going to hear the
absolutely
end.
right.
This
You're
is
not.
between you and me, dude. Listen, Ray, if you're listening, FTFT if you want to have a good time on Tuesday. Oh, jeez.
All right. With
Yeah.
that, thank you for tuning in today. We apologize for it being a little late, but Fridays, there's no market the next day. So we're okay with being a little lazy sometimes. So if you like what you see, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Help us make more people more money.
That's right.
And with that, Cash Furnace out.
See ya.
Peace.